As I sit here on this All Saints Day, I think of Billy Joel, who told me many decades ago, I'd rather laugh with the sinners than cry with the saints. Indeed, 58 years ago, maybe we should have named this franchise the Sinners. Maybe we wouldn't have had to go through Bobby Scott and Dave Wilson and Steve Walsh and Jim Everett and the Billy Joes. But of course, maybe we wouldn't have been blessed with Drew Brees. For the most part, throughout this franchise's history, the team is gone as the quarterback is gone. There are exceptions, and some QBs have probably received more praise than they should have, while others took way more crap than they deserved. But today, if you're looking for hope, if you're looking for some way to make the second half of this 2024 season positive, brother, you have no choice but to hope Derek Carr's return will spark something in this faltering team that clearly has been abysmal since we last saw him on the field. So Mama Leone, maybe Mr. Cacciatore down on Sullivan Street will let you off on Sunday to celebrate the Saints' birthday with a win over the Carolina Panthers. If not, there's always the Dattitude podcast, and it's coming up next.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where you at, New Orleans? And hello to my friends elsewhere, everywhere, out there, who have been waiting for a Saints victory for the longest time. I don't know why Billy Joel is stuck in my head. I must be in a New York state of mind after not saying last night's game coming. Sorry, Gabe. What a cluster mess. We're going to get into that later. We're going to spend, I don't care, I know, Saints show, blah, 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 whatever. We're going to spend a minute or two talking about that Jets-Texans game in a little bit. I know, I didn't see last night coming. I should have seen it coming, but I know every Friday I see this coming, that it's Dattitude. It's episode number 304. It's presented by Evangeline Securities, and it is Friday, November the 1st, 2024. As I've been here for the past 38 months doing the show, even when we're only doing it once a week, it was always on Friday. And look, I got Thursday on the screen. I must be in some weird state of mind. I put the wrong date on the screen. Maybe I can fix that while we're talking here. Anyway, I'm in a weekend state of mind. I obviously can't wait for the weekend. I'm your host, Jim Derry. Thank you for being a part of the Dattitude family. And welcome to November. November. We're here in November. There's something about November. I don't know what it is that gets me. It just is a weird feeling about November. You start thinking about last night when I'm giving out the candy, sitting in the driveway, kids coming up, blah, 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 whatever. But it's although it's my favorite 2 months, November, December, my favorite 2 months of the year. I don't know what it is. Just they always have been. I mean, I guess football is really getting in cranking and, watching the kids and having people over Thanksgiving and getting together with family and seeing people that you don't always see. It's just something about the last 2 months of the year. But it also is kind of sad in a way. It reminds me of how fast time goes. And I know I'm older and, I can be the get off my lawn dude at times. And I know you younger people don't understand this, but it's so true. I know we tell you all the time, and I tell this to seniors every year. When I'm doing play-by-play and I start a season and I talk to seniors and I'm like, enjoy this senior season because it's going to go by so fast. And they look at me crazy. And then at the end of the year, I'm telling you, to a man, to a kid, to a boy, to a girl, they come like, Mr. Jim, you were right. It was so crazy fast. And as you get older, it's the same way. I mean, now into my 50s, it's like, man, the year goes by so fast. And when I hit November, I just start thinking, as much as I love November and December, I know it's all going to be over real quick. And then you're already looking forward to next year, and you don't want it to go too fast, but you can't help it looking forward. Doing a game tonight, week 9, it's senior night for Shaw. I mean, we do Shaw football at VSN, and I'll have Shaw Bell Chase tonight, and it's senior night. Yeah, last home game of the regular season. College football, just 5 weeks left. NFL at the midway point. The weather's getting dreary outside. It's going to be cold soon, or at least cold for us. Man. It is that time of year for sure. A-Town, good morning. We are ready to go for sure. Charles Mangus, a.k.a. Kramer, good morning. You lost the bet. I know. Jets beat the Texans soundly. We're going to get into it. I know they stunk. Houston, look, C.J. Stroud had a bad game. Texans O-line stunk. But if you watch the game, there was some weirdness going on there. We'll get to it in a little bit. Brian, good morning, everyone. Garland Gillen, yes, he will be on in just a little bit. He is definitely a high-energy dude. There's no question about that. He will get us cranking in a little bit. Ask Callie. Sorry, Gabe, go ahead. Who dat? Ask Callie, who dat? Randall's here. Good morning. Rocky, good Friday. We're going to have a lot to talk about this morning for sure. John Pace, good morning. How about those Jets? Man. A-Town says the Pels need a dominant center. I'm going to talk about the Pels in just a second. That's part of my early morning list here. Brian Pearson, maybe we don't need to fire Dennis Allen. Maybe we need to get a mentor to help him out, teach a couple of things. Dude, Brian, you can't be in your overall with this is what, his 7th season as a head coach? You don't find a mentor in your 7th season as a head coach. He had Sean Payton. Rocky, stop it. You have just triggered me. That is on my list as well. Pels need a new coach? What is wrong with you people? Are you kidding me? That is on my list. Sing us a song, piano man. The bread is not in my jar. Y'all want to put bread in my jar? Go ahead. A-Town, roll away, roll 34-3. Ryan, hope you and the family avoided those nasty. No, we had literally only one, and the 2 kids trick-or-treat bags because they, the 13-year-old, she had to go trick-or-treat with friends in another neighborhood because that's the cool thing to do. Out of the 2 bags, there was only 1 box of Whoppers in there. It was a good Halloween, for sure. Charles said the team captains didn't have a players meeting. Instead, DA took them out to dinner. Cam said they came out of it feeling better. DA should have not been involved in the players. Let's don't look. Sometimes we can be a little too critical. He's trying. Salute, Black Preacher Man. Glad to have you here. Look, he's trying. Okay. Look, you can't just blast everything that he does. Okay. He knows he's on his last leg. He's trying. So let's not be overcritical. Okay. Let's not be overcritical. That's all I'm going to say. It's easy. Saints move forward with DA as the head coach next year. Let me ask you this, and I know it's not going to happen, but if the Saints went on a winning streak and went to the playoffs, not going to happen probably. 1.5% chance. Yeah. I am on your side, okay? But the way that y'all presenting, even though I'm on your side, still, let's be realistic, okay? Let's just don't bash every single thing he's doing. The dude's trying. I know y'all think Mickey Loomis has an ego. Mickey Loomis doesn't have an ego, and Dennis Allen Dennis Allen's trying at least. What do you want him to do? He's trying. How can you get rid of Mickey Loomis? You can. You can get rid of Mickey Loomis if Mickey Loomis wants to go. Otherwise, it's on him. Charles Mangus, a concussion on Adams, and he came back into the game. Really? I thought you couldn't do that. That cost me big. I'm playing against Davante Adams. Don't get me started on Davante Adams this morning. Y'all are getting ahead of some of my stuff. Dustin McCann, Gruden itching to get another shot. He's got a TikTok and everything. Won't be John Gruden. I don't want it to be John Gruden anyway. I like John Gruden, and I think that he still could coach if he wants to. But you got to find somebody young. Kath Hilliard. Who dat? 8 from Connecticut? You from Connecticut? Okay. Who dat 8? Okay. Welcome to the Dattitude family. Sorry I can't read this morning, apparently. Ovide Kibido. Good morning. Who dat? UBN wants to know when the Dattitude family Thanksgiving dinner. I'm not. You might show up. Can I tell you? Whoppers on the North Shore. Probably all King. I will say this: the 13-year-old went with her friends into the quote unquote rich neighborhood. That ain't my neighborhood. She went into the rich neighborhood, and she did come home with like full-size candy bars that they came in like, I don't know, these goodie bags. That the stuff that was in these goodie bags was like $3 or $4 of stuff in a bag. Like, I want to be able to afford to give 100 kids $3 or $4 goodie bags. Give me a break. Good morning, Jerry. Thank you for being here. We made it to November. Yes, sort of. We're here. We're alive. Timothy Miller, who dat for life? Hey, I'm not telling you not to scream who dat, baby. How can we? Coop DeVille wants to know, how do we get rid of Gale? You don't want to. Woosa. Hold on. You've actually y'all are hitting all my topics without me having to bring them up. Okay, give me a second, Gabe. Don't put a comment up yet because we got to talk about this. If you want to get rid of Gail Benson, how do I put this as nicely as possible without pissing off half my audience? I'm not going to call you a moron or a numbnuts. That would be too mean. Let's just say you need to use common sense, okay? What happens, and anybody in the chat who wants to answer this question, feel free to answer. What do we think happens if Gail Benson puts this team up for sale? Think about it for a second. Think about it. And for those of you within 5 to 10 years of my age, think back to 1985 when Tom Benson bought this team and what was going to happen. How close they came to going to Jacksonville. Okay? I'm trying to breathe, Callie. Think about what happens if Gail Benson puts this team up for sale. They go on bye-bye. So if you want to root, the Saints move. No question. They move. So if you want to root for the San Antonio Saints, or I don't know, what other city needs an NFL town? Some city that lost a team or should find one. Most of you get it. Chris Johnson, the team will move, end of story, relocation, San Antonio. Gail Benson is a classy lady who blindly trusts Loomis. Not that she blindly trusts Loomis. Y'all are not getting it, okay? No one, and I mean no one, and super, super rare situations do you fire a GM in season. It hardly ever happens, and it's not going to happen here. Let's be realistic, okay? If Gail Benson puts this team up for sale, it's adios Saints, okay? So if you want that to happen, you keep rooting for. I've seen it all over. So I'm not just blasting you for saying it. You just brought it up, and I was going to bring that up this morning. John Pace, you only need about $6 billion to get rid of Miss Benson. Who in New Orleans has $6 billion, by the way? I mean, Garland Gillen might. I'll ask him if he does. Maybe he can buy him. If he buys him, I might be able to get a sweep. But I mean, come on. Common sense, people. Common sense. I hope I didn't put Thursday on my other slides. I have no idea whether I did or not. It is Friday, by the way. Todd Graves. You think Todd Graves has $6 billion? Gabe shakes his head. I don't know. Let me just ask you this question now. It's not just having the $6 billion. It's having the money and wanting to put up with that. Portland, Gabe says Austin might buy the Saints. Austin, I don't think. Too close to other teams. I don't see that happen. St. Louis, they've tried football there many times. I don't see that. Mexico City, Gabe says they're worth Todd Graves is worth $9.5 billion. Why does everyone have to sugarcoat what's going on? What are we sugarcoating? You're Richie. I appreciate you being a part of the show, but if you think I sugarcoat anything, then you're not paying attention. Nick wants to call Evangeline and see if he has $6 billion. You know what, Nick Braden, you listening? Uncle Big Nick wants to know if he can get $6 billion for his for the Regis Radiator service, and maybe he can buy the Saints. I don't know if we want Nick owning the Saints. A-Town, Evangeline Securities could buy the Saints. I don't think Nick Braden wants to buy the Saints. We can ask him. Morris Bart's going to buy the team. Oh, man. Morris Bart is actually on my float in Endymion. By the way, I am no question the poorest dude on my float. Okay. They're like, what are you? It's almost like, what are you doing here? I'm like, there's doctor to one side of me. There's no joke. A pilot on the other side of me. There are doctors all the way down into the well. Morris Bart is in the front on my side. And, a CEO of a company is on the other. One of my good friends, CEO of a company on the other side. It's definitely not where I belong. Anyway, we got to get to Garland in just a minute here. So there's some things that I've missed. First of all, if you're watching on Facebook, we ask you politely, nicely, lovingly, or if you listen to the pod after the fact, subscribe to our YouTube page. It's easy to find. It's at Dattitude Pod on YouTube, but you can find us pretty easily. That's where the Dattitude family lives and loves each other and comments. And you'll always get know when we're going on the air live, which is every weekday, except Tuesday, live at 11 a.m. Central Time here on this YouTube channel. Also, you can have access to all of our shorts on YouTube as well. Get in touch with me on X at Jim Derry Jr. or via email, jderry@theadvocate.com. Okay. As we told you, Garland Gillen coming up in just about 3 or 4 minutes. There were a couple things that I didn't get a chance to talk to. A couple things I'm going to wait till Garland gets on. But before we get to Garland, let me tell you more. You've heard us talk about them already. They're asking. You already know that Evangeline Securities is a part of this show. They're not just a title sponsor. They're a part of this show. Huge part. They can help you celebrate the Saints' birthday also with a real party. If you've been contemplating selling your family and run a privately held business, the first thing you need to find out is how much your business is worth. Business. I did it it was a complete accident. See, I started talking about Tom Benson and I said business. Many of you wonder how to even do this. How do you find out how much your business? See, I did it again. Business is worth. You don't call some national group that doesn't know anything about how we roll down here. No, you call the people who know, who are only knowledgeable, the most knowledgeable people around. They've been in the business for decades. A couple of guys who were born and raised here, who came back from New York to help the people that they love. Indeed, Evangeline's founding and managing partners, Nick Braden and Ron Hemelt, will maximize the value for your company by scheduling a complimentary valuation. More on this later in the show. Stick around. You want to hear it. But in the meantime, you can check them out at www.evangelinesecurities.com. All right. Lastly, before I don't want to get Garland wrapped up in this. I don't know. I might ask him something about it, but somebody brought it up, and I saw this on social media, and it bothered the hell out of me. Somebody, and it's someone who, I don't know if he does a podcast on the Pels or whatever. He has a decent following. I went and looked him up on X. I'm not bringing his name up because it's a ridiculous, dumb comment. Said if the Pels don't go 3-1 in this homestand, then they need to get rid of Willie Green. Are you a moron? I mean, seriously. And we had someone say this. They need to fight. Someone, Rocky, I think, said it. Who's Rocky? I thought you were a pretty normal, level-headed dude. I love you to death. Thank you for being a part of the Dattitude family. You're here almost every day. Pels need a coach. The Pels have gotten better every year since Willie Green's been here. And now we're 4 games into the season. Did they play like crap in San Francisco? Absolutely. They stunk up the joint. Is it a big downer that DeJounte Murray's gone for however many weeks he's gone? 5 weeks, 6 weeks. Yeah, it stinks. But if you're talking about firing you, that's the society we're living in today, right? You can't win. That's why I don't jump on. And look, I'm not talking about Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen's a whole different story. We're 3 years in now. It's different world and whatever. That's a whole different story. But you're talking about firing Willie Green, who has done nothing but made the Pelicans franchise definitely better. I mean, the Pels have had other problems. They have other issues. I'd be more worried about what David Griffin's doing than Willie Green. I don't know. Maybe I will ask Garland what he thinks about it in just a minute. It frustrates me when the first thing, and I think Gabe's right. We were talking about it before the show started. With the advent of, no. Here we go. What are you talking about? Here we go with same excuses with the injuries. When did I make an excuse for anything? I didn't make an excuse about anything. What show are you watching or listening to? Because it ain't this one. Y'all need to. Here's people. Q-tips. Buy them. All right. Maybe Garland can bring some sense into the show. I'm going to find out. Garland Gillen, bring some sense to the Dattitude podcast. And I don't know what these people were drinking this morning, but we're talking about firing Willie Green already. I mean, and like they think that I'm making an excuse. Now this guy's saying that because I'm making an excuse. I didn't make an excuse of DeJounte Murray. I'm simply pointing out that your star free agent was hurt in game 1 and he's out for 5 weeks. I'm not saying that's why it's okay for the Pels to play bad. But anyone that's talking about firing a coach that has basically, to me, in my opinion, brought this team to a new level doesn't make any sense.
No. Willie Green's fine. Okay, I think they've set the precedent. They're going to wait probably until end of the seasons to fire these guys. I mean, Stan Van Gundy was absolutely terrible. He still
exactly.
Made it to the season. Alvin Gentry made it to the end of the
Horrible.
season. You're really going to judge him on DeJounte Murray being out 4 to 6 weeks. Trigger Trey Murphy is still being evaluated. Maybe comes back in a couple of weeks. That's 2 of your starting 5 possibly. Okay,
right.
Like. It's 8. The problem with the NBA, it's a long season, but it's also a good thing for teams like the Pelicans right now. It's an 82-game season. We can't be making rash judgments this early in the
120th into the season. Let's fire the coach. Fire. That's all I have. Fire. Got every Beavis and Butthead on the planet out there.
No, it's too early for this foolishness there. Okay, they can get back on track very soon. I mean. Wait, and it's also their fault that Herb Jones, he's dealing injuries now also. It's too early, man.
But I'm not even you're 100% right, but I'm not even blaming injuries. It's just it's a reality. But even if there weren't injuries and they played the exact same way with 0 injuries, you don't fire a coach or even talk about it after 4. It's the same people probably the same people. It's the same kind of people who are talking about Brian Kelly sucks. And then you never heard anything out of him for 6 weeks. Okay. And then they have a bad game. And now the Brian Kelly sucks people are back again. I mean, it's the same kind of thing.
It's just calm down. Basketball season is just in its infancy. Okay. Yes. Like red alert for the Saints. No doubt. LSU loser leaves town probably next week against Alabama. Yes. Those are real things that are happening right now.
Right.
Pelicans, gosh, there's so much time. I mean, we just started November today. Like everybody pump the brakes on the Pelicanos.
All right. Well, anyway, I had to get that out. I knew you would bring some logic and sense to this show. That doesn't, because look, Lord knows sometimes I'm not sensible either. All right. Well, I want to talk about, before we get to all this NFL stuff that you see on the screen, I didn't have time to make a slide for our local college teams. But first, I want to talk about the Tulane Green Wave. Last night, look, they were 14-point favorites, went into Charlotte and rolled. And I get Charlotte's not very good, but Tulane was dominating. And one thing that I saw last night that I haven't really seen a whole lot of lately is really good defense, and I thought they played really good defense last night.
Another forced turnover into a touchdown.
Yep.
Micah Robinson. I mean, that was a game changer. I mean, they probably still won the game either with or without the Micah Robinson pick six. But defense is playing really strong. Derry Mensah just needs to control the game and hand the ball off to Mekhi Hughes. Shoddy Clayton Johnson got a touchdown in the game. Jim, I think we talked about this in the summer. I've talked about this nonstop. That over/under win total of 7.5 was absolutely insanity.
That was free money, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of my friends, coworkers that all pounded the over on that 7.5, and now they got Temple at home next week. Temple's under 500. The game is a sellout. It's homecoming. They win that, they will be over the win total. They'll be at 8 games, and they're already in the playoffs.
Yeah, 3 weeks before Thanksgiving. When you ching one like that early, you gotta be happy. But look, I looked at this morning. Tulane still. They were plus 10, they're plus 1,000 before the season to make the playoff. They're now plus 500. They still have a chance. I don't think it's going to happen because a 2-loss team in their boat, probably not going to happen. But if things fall the right way, they have a chance to make this playoff. It would be interesting to see if they could get there and what would happen if they, wouldn't you just love to see? I know it's probably not going to happen. I mean, but Tulane and LSU in a playoff, wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah. Boise, it is the problem right now for the Tulane, but Tulane made their own problems. Let's not belittle the fact
for sure.
They either should have beat Kansas State, they should have beat Kansas State at home, and then Oklahoma on the road. Those are 2 huge losses for their college football playoff hopes. Boise State's the team. Somebody had texted me yesterday. Has there ever been 3 Louisiana teams in the AP poll at the same time? That has not happened in college football. I'm talking about ever. No, look back. Well, you got to also think about it. Louisiana Tech and ULM didn't join Division I football until the 80s, late 80s.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, so that cuts out 3. That cuts out 2 of your teams. Well, we only have 5 in Division I when you got UL and Tulane and LSU, and Tulane and LSU had been ranked at the same time. But then UL has only had a few spurts where they were ranked. And when UL was ranked in 2021, Tulane was not ranked. Tulane started getting those rankings in 22. So we haven't had 3. I mean, I did a ton of research on it yesterday. If there's somebody out there that can tell me I'm wrong, I'd love to see it. But I looked up and down.
That's logical.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have 5 Division I teams. And when 2 of them are just starting to play Division I football, 30 or so years ago. I mean, if ULM wouldn't have lost at USA last week, we would have an insane amount of teams that are doing well this season.
Going back to what we were talking about before, I meant to show this. I forgot. Rainy Cajun logic and sense. With Southeast Louisiana fans, you're joking, right? We're never been a logical bunch ever. That is very, very true. So anyway. But maybe we aren't being logical saying Tulane could possibly make it. All right. Next week, also, LSU taking its bye week. How do you feel real quick before we get to the Saints? Everything changed. I hope this doesn't linger. This is the thing that worries me. Even though you have an off week, you start out great against Texas A&M. You put yourself in a position to where, look, if they win that game, I think LSU was golden. I said it before the game. They could go and still lose one more and find a way to make it to the playoffs. Now they kind of have to, they have to win out to make the playoffs, which they still can do. But obviously it starts with the toughest game remaining on your schedule, and that's Alabama at home next weekend in Baton Rouge. Yeah,
this is a loser leaves town for the college football playoff. If you lose, you're out. Jim, before the season, I said LSU was going to finish 10-2. And my losses I had were going to split with the Alabama and Ole Miss. They were going to one of those 2, and they were going to lose at A&M. So nailed the A&M. You
got to get this one.
Obviously missed out on USC. I thought they'd beat USC, but the path, if they can beat Bama, I will say this: Florida, it looks like a tougher road game now. Vanderbilt is a really good team. They got them at home, so they do have tough games on the.
Oklahoma's not very good.
Yeah, and what, LSU's an underdog by 2.5. I saw one of the books, I think FanDuel had them at 2.5. So I think they figured out last year what they need to do to improve this year. I mean, Jalen Milroe just absolutely murdered them with his legs. I think LSU can win in Baton Rouge. The magic of Tiger Stadium at nighttime already bit Ole Miss pretty hard. If that game was in Oxford, Ole Miss would have probably won, but it was in Baton Rouge, and that's, it's home and home. So there you go. I think LSU is going to win next week. I still think they have a great shot of finishing 10-2 and getting the CFB, which is what I said before this season.
I wonder if they win this week against Alabama. If they win, will the Brian Kelly should be fired people? Will they still come out and say Brian Kelly should be fired? I don't
know who else is even out there if you're talking about that craziness. Okay.
Oh, they'll find someone else they want to fire next year. I mean, whoever they bring in, they'll be asking for that person to be fired next year.
Yeah, and I mean, Billy Napier, I guess they're waiting until after the season they're going to do that. And I don't know if it's going to be – Lane Train's stock is starting to go down here.
How many times do you need me to tell you, Garland? Dude's not a good coach.
No.
Not a good coach.
Yeah, well, I will say this. There is a really good coach. He's in New Orleans, but he needs a little. He's
not ready for the big time yet, John Summerall.
He needs one more year, I think. Then you can say that he's up there. Like if they can get in the CFB either this year or next year, which I think they can. If they keep Mensah and they keep Hughes, I say keep because listen, NIL is going to heat up for those two. I think they should keep. I think they'll keep both of them. If they can keep the core of those guys on the team, then I think Tulane's going to be a wrecking ball again next year.
I think they'll be better next year. I think they'll be better.
Yeah, Summerall is going to have this thing cooking. So, I think that Summerall will be a big name coach in the coming years.
I agree.
He's a little more seasoning at Tulane.
Oh, we saw again. You brought up Billy Napier. I think we saw what happens when you take a coach that's probably not quite ready for the big time yet, but probably will be. And to me, when you take a big, you have to take it if you can get it. But the problem is with a young coach, if you get a big gig like that early in your career and you fail, then not only does it take you longer to get the next one, but people are going to jump on you. They're not going to give you any kind of chance. Once you get it, you get a little bit longer rope your first time, but that second time, if he goes somewhere else that's big and he doesn't win right away, they're not going to give him a chance. So that's what scares me. And I hope Summerall takes his time. Look, stay at Tulane for 2 more years after this and get yourself really ready. Build Tulane take him to a major bowl or take him to the playoff or whatever. But he needs to stay at Tulane for a little bit longer, in my opinion.
And you know what? A golden path is, I know this is crazy talk, but just stay at Tulane. I mean, if you can get – David Harris needs to do 2 things, okay? He's the athletic director of Tulane. He's got to renegotiate John Summerall's contract after this year. He's got to renegotiate it, okay? And then also they need to get this indoor bubble built, for God's sake, okay? Get it done. If you can give Summerall more money and then get the bubble, you got a clear path to make the college football playoff every year if you win the American and win your non-conference games. I think the Tulane could become a juggernaut with Summerall as head coach. And you don't need to go to a Power 4 team. Summerall can take Tulane to multiple college football playoffs if he just stays uptown.
Yeah. Down south says, if it'll let me show it. There it goes. Fact of the matter is Kelly is underachieved the normal standard at LSU. I couldn't disagree more. And this is the last thing I'm going to say on this today because we're about to move on to the Saints. And I've said this multiple times before, but people continue to fail to realize, Garland, where this team was before Brian Kelly took over. I love Coach O to death as a person, but he left this franchise going back. They were about to go back to the Jerry DiNardo days. They were about to going back to being a losing record kind of franchise. And Brian Kelly had to basically come in here and start over. And people don't realize, look, he got lucky. He brought in a Heisman Trophy winning candidate that if Jaden Daniels doesn't turn out to be Jaden Daniels, then LSU probably flounders around being like a 7-5, 8-4 kind of team for the first year or 2 that he's here. But he just got lucky with Jaden Daniels, okay? And I think this program is still getting better. I think overall, this team is actually better than the team they had last year. Again, it was covered up in mascara by the fact that Jaden Daniels was as good as he was. But overall, this defense is certainly better than it was last year. So I think the LSU team is on the right trajectory. And if they don't make the playoff this year, so be it. They still have, if you did it 3 times, they're going to make it at least once, maybe 1.5 times. That makes sense. If you do it 4 times, they're going to make it twice. I don't know. Whatever. But the point is that I think that this team is on the right path. I think they'll be back. They'll be in the playoffs soon. I think they have the right defensive coordinator in Blake Baker. Maybe they need a little bit better play caller. I don't know, but we'll see. But anyway, I think that this team, again, overall is better. They don't have a Heisman Trophy winner on it.
Yeah, no, and the Marcel Reed thing, that just, I know they've dealt with running quarterbacks before. That was not in their game plan. I just don't understand how they didn't adjust after one series.
That's exactly what I said.
That's what I don't understand.
It was about adjusting, not adjusting.
The defense is way better this year than it was last year. And you also got to put in with Joe Sloan. He's going to Michigan today. He's going to Bryce Underwood's playoff game today. He's the number 1 recruit in America for 2025. Michigan is trying to get a massive bankroll to get him to flip from LSU Michigan. So you need Joe Sloan in your corner right now. So he's a young play caller. He'll get it better, but he needs Bryce Underwood, and I think Joe Sloan is the point man on Landon Underwood. Early signing day is December 3rd, by the way.
Who knows? Maybe we'll have a show on that, and we'll talk about it. We'll see. All right, time to move on to the New Orleans Saints. And look, it's. I don't think you and I have talked since it got really bad. I don't remember the last time on your show, like 3 weeks ago. I think right before Carr got hurt. I think. I don't. We haven't really talked about it all that much. But look, this team is in a world of hurt right now. I think that Carr coming back at least gives them a little boost. And look, you'll take any positivity you can get at this point. And here we sit on All Saints Day. I think that Carr at least can maybe give them a spark. If they can get a win this week, it at least changes the mentality, right?
Well, they definitely need a win this week, Jim, or all heck is going to break loose. We said that Dennis Allen would probably be safe until the end of the season, but if they lose this game to Carolina,
gone.
Something needs to change. They traded their number 1 receiver the other day for peanuts. Okay, Deontay Johnson is long gone. They're setting it up where they just want to get the number 1 pick in the draft and get Shedeur Sanders. I don't know if Deion's going to let his son go there, because I think the Panthers. Well, Jimmy Haslam's pretty close at the Browns owner, but Tepper might be the worst owner in the NFL. So Deion might block it, but they're on a one-way path to get the number 1 pick in the NFL draft in 2025. This team has already given up. So the Saints have everything laid out on a perfect silver platter to win this game on Sunday.
There's no doubt about it. And look, I'll ask you this question. You follow spreads and lines almost as much as I do. Big Easy Mafia, happy All Saints Day. Thank you for joining the Dattitude podcast presented by Evangeline Securities on this Friday, November the 1st, All Saints Day. But you follow spreads and lines. Have you ever seen a team that lost 6 games in a row go on the road and be a 7-point favorite?
This is very rare. I'm not going to lie. This is very intriguing. I mean, the Panthers are biblically bad this year, historically bad. Though you say the same thing with the Saints. I mean, when we're starting to talk about Katrina, then it's bad on Airline Drive. Fox 8 has, I think, 13 games this season, and this is one that we don't have. So
I know you're upset about it.
Very upset. Yeah, it's on another network. It's not on ours, so we have no problem with that. We actually, we have a double. I was looking out. I got an email from our programming person the other day, and I'm making sure I pull it up right. Our doubleheader on Fox 8 on Sunday is Dallas at Atlanta and the Detroit at Green Bay. Like, that's a blockbuster games on Fox 8. So if the game becomes a snoozer, the black and gold game, you could definitely check out us or put us in a double box there, because we got some good games on Fox 8 on Sunday.
One of those games is on the screen. We'll talk about it in a little bit as we get to the NFL's best of Week 9, Lions at Packers. It's actually 3:25 on Fox after the Cowboys-Falcons game. I mean, you ought to be able to double box things at this point in time. For sure. All right, well, just how much do you think that Derek Carr coming back? I mean, I don't want to say nothing matters right now because I'm not at that point. Okay. And look, the Saints realistically aren't going anywhere this year. That's fine. But I just think for psyche, and you just can't have, they're on the road to like a 3-14, 4-13 kind of season if they don't win this game. And I get that in the grand scheme of things, 7-10 is no better than 4-13. And for some, I don't know, people that I don't agree with, it's even worse because I don't agree with tanking ever. But I just think for the psyche of this city and this franchise and everything, I think Derek Carr coming back can bring something to this team.
Yeah, and first off, I guess we can cool off on Spencer Rattler is like going to save the team this year, and he's going to take Derek Carr's job.
I was trying to stay away from that.
Well, I couldn't get over some of the takes before his first start. I mean, they were talking about how cool his tattoos were and how cool his logo is for his branding. And I'm like, slow down, everybody. I mean, you know what happens, Jim? When you're out on airline drive every day, you're kind of in the weeds and you kind of get sold this bill of goods, and it blinds you sometimes. And I think that's what happened to some of the people that cover the team. I mean, the takes on Spencer Rattler were absolutely out of control. And, you know, I'm out on airline drive, but not all the time. And I think that's to my benefit sometimes because I'm not in the weeds getting told, you know, that things are going to change and this guy is going to be the future. He might be the future. Spencer Rattler might be the future, but he's just not that guy right now. There's a reason that he was drafted in the 5th round. There was a reason that Jake Haener was taken in the 4th round, okay? It takes time to develop these guys. But yes, Derek Carr is their best opportunity to win this game on Sunday in Charlotte. I don't think that, fans that are hoping that they get a top 5 pick and they give up on the season, I don't see that. They'll probably still finish. I mean, I had them finishing 7-10. I think that's still like a direct path to finish 7-10. I
agree, and I'm not gonna I'm not gonna change my prediction now. Just like I didn't change it when they went 2-0. I said maybe I should move it up to 8-9, but I don't think I officially changed it. And I certainly didn't change. As I said, if they went 3-0, then I would have to change it. They didn't go 3-0. One comment on here that I'm not gonna read the whole comment. James Davis. Welcome to the Dattitude family. I think it's the first time I've seen you post here. You're convinced, and see this. Here's the exact kind of fan that I'm trying to change your mentality. Okay, you're convinced Loomis and Allen won't be going anywhere unless the Saints totally tank. Okay, first of all, tanking does nothing good. It is you never want to lose on purpose, and I mean ever. Just because you get a better draft pick doesn't mean anything. You're convinced that if the team rallies and wins 6 or 7 games, Allen will be back next year. This team, and I'm pretty sure you agree with me because you and I have talked about this before. If this team finishes with 6 or 7 wins, I think there's a 0.0% chance that Dennis Allen is the coach next year.
They can't bring him back. The only way I foresaw him coming back was that like they finished 9-8 again.
Correct.
But
maybe like small tinge of a percentage if they win 8 games, maybe, but I doubt it.
Yeah, they just need a new voice in the room.
Agreed.
They need to probably run out some of these old guys and start getting this salary cap in line. I'll always love to read the beat reporters and the fans saying, "Oh, Mickey Loomis, he always gets under the cap." Well, guess what? You got to get under the cap. It's your job. But you know what? It really hurts you on is like when you're trying to get a Devontae Adams and Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders, was not going to pull back any of that salary. So that the Jets had to eat all that salary cap, and the Saints just couldn't do that. So you miss out on guys like him. You might miss out on Justin Simmons. I don't know what the deal with that one was. It could have been a salary cap issue, but they had no money to pick up anybody in the summer when you realize, oh my gosh, when they were in California, there were some holes in that roster, and they brought those holes in the roster back to New Orleans, and now it's laying bare that they're 2-6.
Yeah, and this comment / question goes to what we're talking about. Do I think, or we think, that no matter what DA is back, is there any scenario where he makes it another season? I mean, the only scenario really is what we're talking about, and it's the rare scenario. If they find a way to go 9-8, which means they'd have to go 7-2 down the stretch, which isn't likely. It's very, very unlikely. Then they go 9-8. They still not a shoe in to make the playoffs, even if they went 9-8. But if they went 9-8 and make the playoffs, then I think he probably would come back because that means you won 7 out of your last 9. You made it to the playoffs, and you see what happens. So I don't know. And even then, maybe they might make a change. So look, Larry Holder said on this show, I think 2 weeks ago, that there was a 0% chance that Dennis Allen's coming back, and he stands by 0. I think it's probably more like 1.5%. Okay. So, means that it's probably not happened. I just think this is different. It's different this year. Everything's different. You can't, especially we're going to see next week, Garland, when you and I are in the dome covering Saints Falcons, that dome is going to be like the dirty bird's nest. It's going to be disgusting. I know this already. It's going to be a haven of Falcons fans in the Superdome, something we probably never seen before. It's going to be sad. And I think that is also going to help lead to the fact that Dennis Allen can't stick around here much longer.
Yeah, I pulled up the schedule. I got it right here. You're talking about 7-2, the finish. I mean, Falcons at home. I'm putting Saints, Panthers. I'm putting Saints as a victory. Okay, I'm just going to roll it. Then you got Jameis Winston and the Browns coming to town, which, you don't know what day you're going to get Jameis. Like, I know he smoked everybody last week. He beat the Ravens. Watch against the Chargers. This is a game where he throws like 5 picks against the Chargers and loses that one. So you don't know which week you're going to give it him. You got the Rams who now got Puka Nacua back, Cooper Kupp, who absolutely smoked the Saints last year. You're at the Giants. Giants every now and then decide to shine. Then you get Jaden Daniels at home. You go on the road to Green Bay, which I think is a definite loss. You host the Raiders, which is probably winning, and then you're into Tampa Bay. You ain't finishing 7-2 to finish the season. It ain't happening.
I agree with you. I mean,
yeah.
Again, miracles happen. Weinsberger says, no way more Falcons fans than Saints fans in the dome.
Yeah.
You're hoping. I understand that you don't want to see that, but I really think that's going to happen. Even if they win this week, I just don't. I'm telling you, prepare yourself.
Have some bad fans,
they do have bad fans, but you need to mentally prepare yourself that it could happen. And then the 2 weeks from now, I can't wait to see what happens when Jameis comes to town. I cannot wait to see what happens. Randall wants to ask you a question, Garland. He says, did Mickey Loomis have a conversation with DA about his future for the season? And basically, I might as well say, do you think he told him he had to win a certain number of games to keep his job?
No, because Mickey said on WL Radio numerous times, you got to look more outside of the wins and losses. So I don't think they judge Dennis on just wins and losses. We do. But yeah. I think they think differently out on Airline Drive. I think Mickey Loomis and Dennis Lauscha look at it differently there. I mean, they're the power brokers, okay? They're the ones that are going to make the final decision on this. I know Gail has some say, but I think she leans heavily on Dennis and Mickey, and also Greg Bensel, who a lot of people don't know who he is, but he's the head of communications. You think he's like executive vice president. I know he's really high up there. She trusts those people. Okay. Those are the people she leans on. They're the ones that'll probably make the final decision on Dennis Allen going forward. And if he gets past Carolina, then he'll be fine the rest of the season. If they teeter to 7-10 or 6-11, but they need to win in Carolina. If they lose to Carolina, then this whole thing could be an absolute mess. That
leads into my last question before I ask you for your prediction. But Jerry says, as much as we hate the Falcons, they're leading the division. It's true. I think Garland and I have been saying this. We said it before the season. I know that I said it. I thought it was easy money. The Falcons are going to win this division. I don't think it's going to be close. I think they're going to win it going away. It does hurt to say it, but it's true. And William, come on, man. I don't understand. And every time I like to make this joke, but it's actually not a joke. Every time I mention Jameis Winston, you can watch the people who are numbering this, who watch this program, this podcast, the numbers go down. Just saying Jameis Winston, numbers go down immediately. William says Jameis will throw more passes to our DBs than receivers in the dome. Dude, he's a good quarterback. I mean, you might not like it. He's a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. He's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Jim, you know what? You're talking about getting your numbers down. I listened to a podcast, and he said he
went down, straight down.
Yeah. I listened to a podcast that said he purposely puts Arch Manning in the headline because he said the podcast and listener views like shoot through the ceiling for anything Arch Manning related. So Samir Mawad, who is the general manager of Caesars, he threw out on Final Bet last night that get through this season and you try to rebuild next season and you go to like 4-13 and maybe you're in that Arch Manning sweepstakes next year, Arch will be the starting quarterback for the Longhorns next year. So then you can dream of Arch Manning playing for the black and gold, years from now. So yeah, in the future, just put that in there. If you want to put Arch Manning in the title, that would pump your podcast numbers up.
We literally, and it's coming back a little bit because they'll click off and come back. And I'm going to say it again, so it'll go down again. It literally, I watched it. It went down almost 20% when I mentioned Jameis Winston. It went straight down, and then it'll slowly come back up. But every time you say Jameis Winston, it just goes down. It did it again.
Say Arch Manning. I mean, everybody loves well, I say not everybody. I mean, I have a lot of respect for the Manning family, but there's some people that don't. So, maybe keep saying Arch Manning and maybe the numbers will go back up again,
Eating dubs.
Eating dubs. Jeez.
I hate that. Eating dubs. UBN also says, Uncle Big Nick says, I put UBN in the headline to get my numbers up. Yeah. If that was true, I would have you on every show for sure. All right. We're going to get to prediction time in just a minute, but a couple games. So don't go anywhere. Now is the time. If you guys in the chat want to give your prediction for Saints Panthers, now is the time to do so, because we're going to give our predictions in about 2-3 minutes. But I do want to talk about the three best games of week 9. It's not the greatest week in the world, although I will say Fox has, to me, the best game of the week by far. Okay. I didn't put it in here. Falcons Cowboys. What do you think, real quick? Falcons Cowboys, which is on Fox.
I'm in a betting contest, and I took the Cowboys +3 this week. I think the Falcons win, but I think it's on a Younghoe Koo late field goal to win by 2 points. At least I hope. I think the Cowboys are in disarray, so I think the Falcons get that one. I like the Falcons.
You like the Falcons, but you don't like them to cover?
No, I like the Cowboys to cover. I need it's gonna be, everybody loves a little Cowboys heartache, and you want to see Jerry Jones in the box. Yeah, I need a last-second field goal by Younghoe Koo, and they win by a point or two.
I've got Falcons. This is my best bet of the week. If y'all didn't watch the Best Bet show yesterday, this was my 5-point pick. I like the Falcons it's actually 2.5 on our show.
Okay. It's moving around 2.5, 3,
But I think it is 3. It might be 3 now. Jerry says it wouldn't surprise me if Dallas beat Atlanta. Well, I mean, it's fairly close. Younghoe Koo, that dude, he spoils many games for opposing teams. There's no doubt about it. Look, I just think that it's going to be a Bijan Robinson kind of game. I think Bijan's going to run all over this Cowboys defense. That is still all banged up. Micah Parsons is still out, Sean. Lawrence is still going. I think they are struggling defensively, and they just can't run the football until they figure out how to run the football even a little bit. I think it's going to be a problem. All right. On another network, at the same time the Saints are playing, you got Chargers at Browns, which I find interesting. I really like the under in this game, under 42.5. I think it's going to be like a 17-13 kind of game, an ugly kind of game. Let's see how Jameis does in his second game. It's to me, it's easier when you're coming in your first game than it is in your second game. And the Chargers have a really good defense, as they showed last week. I'm just not sure that they'll be able to run the ball in Cleveland. I think both offenses will struggle here.
Yeah, I actually, in my contest, I actually took the Chargers at -1.5. The same mistakes that the Ravens made on defense, I don't think the Chargers are against Jameis Winston. Kyle Hamilton dropping a game-winning interception.
Yeah.
I think the Chargers are gonna beat up on Jameis. I think they kind of figured out what Jameis is, and Jameis is a roller coaster. One week he will throw numerous touchdown passes and get Offensive Player of the Week, and the next week he'll go 11 for 25 and have 3 interceptions.
Yeah, I don't pick a side here. I really don't have. I have no opinion on the side whatsoever. As I said yesterday, I'm going to take the under. I really like the under. In fact, it almost made my top 5 best bets, but it didn't. All right. Also on Fox 8 on Sunday, again at 3:25, not 3:20, as I have listed here. To me, the game of the week is Lions at Packers. I'll give you my opinion, but I definitely have a strong opinion. It is in my best bets. What say you? The spread has gone from -3.5 Detroit to now that it's starting to look like Jordan Love is going to play, it's down to -2.5 Detroit.
That's the kicker. That's the kicker. This could be for the division this early in the year, or I say early, we're in the midway season. So Jordan Love is just going to get shot up with something before the game. I think he's going to be out there. You can't miss this game against Detroit. If I had to go on a side, I would take Detroit. They're just on an absolute heater right now. If you ask me who's going to be going to the Super Bowl from the NFC, I think it would be Detroit right now. They're healthy, so everything's going in the direction of Dan Campbell and the Motor City Lions there.
All right, well, I'm on the other side. I got the Green Bay Packers, and I think that, again, this is one of my best bets of the week. I loved it when it was 3.5. You want to give Green Bay 3.5 points at Lambeau Field against Detroit. Jared Goff, we know, doesn't play nearly as well on grass as he does on turf or indoors. I think the Packers win this straight up. I've been saying for weeks and weeks and weeks, I think the Packers are the best team in the division, and I think even with a banged up Jordan Love, who wouldn't miss this game unless you locked him down to the bench, like literally with locks and chains, he ain't missing this game. I'm with Garland on that. I think it's going to be I can't wait to watch this game. I really can't. This is one of the games I've been looking forward to for a long time. I agree with you. The winner of this wins the division. They still have to play again, but I've been saying also the Packers to win the division is a great value play. But you got to bet it before this game. If they win this game, obviously their numbers change. I think the Packers are the team that are going to go to the Super Bowl from the NFC. But I definitely think the Super Bowl participant in the NFC comes out of this division, whether it is Detroit or whether it is Green Bay. We'll find out soon enough. All right, and then lastly, also on Fox at the same time, not on your Fox, not on Fox 8, but if you got the ticket, you can watch it. The Rams and Seabags. The Rams are -1. I think this is an interesting game because I think it could be a shootout and a very fun game to watch. At the same time, with the Lions-Packers going on, I think Rams-Seahawks, it's going to be like pinball going on Fox on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I think the Rams are dangerous now. When you have Nakua and you have Cooper Kupp back, you saw it last week. I like the Rams in this spot personally. The Seahawks, very up and down team. They got smoked by the Bills last week. They let the Giants go in there and beat them. So why not Matt Stafford and the Rams? I also love the running back for the Los Angeles Rams also. Yeah,
I'm with you. And the Rams are getting healthier. I think this is, and I get that it's in Seattle, but Seattle hasn't been that great at home in the grand scheme of things. And yesterday, Uncle Big Nick was talking about how Seattle's bad in the first half. Puka apparently hurt his knee in practice. He's questionable. But they'll find a way to do it. I love the way the Rams are playing right now. And watch the Rams down the stretch. They could be a sneaky sleeper team. And the Saints, by the way, have to play the Rams. I think the Rams are going to be tough to beat in the second half of the season if they can stay semi-healthy. We'll find out. All right. It is that time. And I know we got some predictions from our Dattitude family, Gabe, if you want to show some of them here on the screen. Randall says 27-23 Panthers. That is some real positivity, brother. Uncle Big Nick, who doesn't even like the Saints, says Saints 38-13. Charles Mangus, a.k.a. Kramer, Saints 27-7. I know there's some others in there. Lance Dobar, 24-10 Saints. So we got a lot of predictions up in the queue. Garland Gillen, what say you?
I am going to say the Saints win 24-13.
Okay.
Fair. It's not a lot of points. Derek Carr's first game back might be a little rusty. Bryce Young might engineer one touchdown drive, then get him down a few other times at the kick field goal. So I'm going to say 24-13 black and gold.
I think that, okay, and here we go with my official prediction of the week. And I see
here it comes.
Williams got 40-14 Saints. I think that's a little too pop. We got the whole end of the spectrum here. I think that the Saints are going to come out and play well in the beginning. I think Panthers are going to stink. I like the Saints. If you want to bet the first half line, I don't even know what it is, but I would take Saints in the first half. I think the Panthers will go to the red rifle at some point, the red water pistol, whatever you want to call them, because he would love to have a chance to beat these Saints and give the Panthers a boost. I don't think it's enough. I think the Saints find a way to win, but I don't think they cover 7 points. I think it's absurd that a team that's lost 6 games in a row is on the road giving 7 points to anybody, including the Carolina Panthers, who are not a good football team. I'm going to say Saints 24, Panthers 20, and a lot of that 20 comes from the red water pistol.
All right.
There you go. Sean Hurst has got Saints 20, Panthers 13, Black Preacher Man Saints 15, Panthers 6. Boy, that's ugly. I can see that. I can absolutely see that. Charles Mangus says 21-17. And I know John Pace is in there. If you want to show that at the bottom before we done. Bryce Young is playing. Saints 31, Panthers 13. I'm telling you. And UBN says it's -3.5. Sorry, Gabe, that was my fault. Saints -3.5 in the first half. I like the Saints in the first half. All right. So there you go. I mean, look, and in the grand scheme, last thing here, Garland, this game is not going to change the mentality of Saints fans, but at the same time, look, I am on board of anything you get that's positive at this point and just stop the trajectory of just falling into the abyss. Get me something positive and then work on something from there and go from there. I'm not saying that a game like this can turn a season around. By no means am I saying that. But I just think that Carr coming back can inject positivity and some life into this franchise that, frankly, we haven't seen a lot of life the past few weeks.
No, you're right. This will get them back on track, and at least it'll make for a big game environment next week when they play the Falcons. You'll have a little hope at 3-6. I mean, that's going to be a wild weekend with LSU playing Bama on Saturday night, and then the Saints playing at noon the next day. Even Tulane has their homecoming against Temple. So there's a lot going on in South Louisiana next weekend. So buckle up. I'm excited. And then also, I'd be remiss I didn't bring up, I mean, next week will also be the final week of the regular season for high school football.
Yes, it is.
I'll be at Hahnville Destrehan tonight in our Fox State
You jumped it. I was going to ask you that. I'm
going to be at Hahnville Destrehan Fox State Football Friday game of the week. I did tell Zach Fردella, our morning weather guy, who is a Shaw grad.
Yeah, I didn't. Zach Fردella is a Shaw grad. See, I didn't know that.
Zach Fردella is a Shaw grad. Who is like you,
who also lives on the North Shore now.
Yeah, lived on the West Bank and now lives on the North Shore. I told him I don't see a path where Hank Tierney and the Shaw Eagles are not in the Superdome. I know injuries happen and those kind of things, but right now Hank has that thing flying. I can't wait to watch him play against St. Charles Catholic next week. People look at St. Charles Catholic's record and be like, oh, they're not good. They're a good team, okay? So Shaw gets Bell Chase tonight, and then they get St. Charles Catholic. I'm sure you're going to be on VSN tonight with that Shaw game. I'm assuming.
I am.
Yeah. Yep. So
Shaw Bell Chase tonight.
Yeah. So we're at the end. Jesuit plays Rumble tonight. That's gonna be one of our key games there. Carr's got John Curtis. So man, it's a big night, you know. So I'm excited for some high school football, and then college. No Tulane, no LSU tomorrow. So I'm actually off tomorrow. This is gonna be beautiful.
Wow. Nice.
I got our D1 teams are off tomorrow, so I'm really excited about that. And then we'll get back on Sunday in Saints Panthers. So
will we have Garland on the Avenue tomorrow?
Well, we got it this morning. So I decided I was running outside this morning right when I got outside at Monsoon. So I got a rain jacket on. If you go to X, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, you can see me in my rain gear. I'm in front of Superior Seafood. So there's a Garland on the Avenue. So we can, if the Pelicans lose tonight on Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network, then maybe you might see a Garland on the Avenue tomorrow. I'm not going to be crazy saying that Willie's going to have to win the final three to save his job. But, yeah, I need some positivity with the Pelicans, tonight there. But, Madeline Adams going to be live pregame there on Fox 8 News 4 through 6. And then the Pelicans are on Gulf Coast.
By the way, our producer back behind the scenes, Gabe Henderson, I think he had the same score as you. He says 24-10 Saints.
24-13 I had.
Oh, you said 24-13.
Close. It's all good.
Well, I am going to be at Shaw Bell Chase tonight. Next week, I finish my regular season in the parish for Chalmette and Salmon. So we're going to do Chalmette and Salmon,
mackerel.
which could be for, I think that's not, I don't remember, 9-5A or 8-5,
no,
whatever. What district is that? Something 5A.
8-5A maybe.
8-5A. Yeah. Whatever. There's two North Shore districts now, so I get them confused. Anyway, it could be for that district championship. We'll be doing that next week on VSN, and then we'll see what happens in the playoffs. And I hope you're right, because if the Shaw Eagles are at home, whenever they're at home in the playoffs, we'll be there.
There you go. VSN I like the Shaw Eagles. I think the Newman Greenies have a good shot of getting to the Dome. I think the Lucha Bulldogs have a great shot. Carr.
How about the
Cougars.
Franklinton Demons?
Well, you know what? That district is.
I'm giving my man Nick Saltamaggio some love.
I know that district, it definitely can make you look really good as a program. I tell you what, I love them. I love Salt, and I love the Franklinton Demons. I'm going to need to see it in a few rounds of the playoffs to like convince that they can make it to the Dome. So,
all right. Well, he's already told us that if it's Franklinton hosting Lutcher at some point, like I guess quarterfinals or semis, if we're not at a show game, that's where we're going to be. We're going to be at Franklinton.
Dude, if that's Lutcher Franklinton in the playoffs, like in quarters, my goodness, I've seen Lutcher play. They have some absolute beasts.
It'd be a lot of points, wouldn't it?
Dude, Franklinton better, yeah. But you know what?
I'm telling you, Franklinton can score.
We got some time.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'm sure you and I will be talking about whatever is going to happen in the high school playoffs before too long. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun November. Catch Garland on the Avenue on all of his social media pages, including at Garland Gillen on X. You will enjoy it, even if he is a De La Salle grad. Look, one of the favorite people in my life is also a De La Salle grad, my color analyst, Jim Rapier, and I forgive him for it. So, Garland Gillen, the Mackles, Jim Rapier, De La Salle, the Moros. I mean, you got to love them anyway, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of us that are De La Salle grads that are like in the media. I guess
even Benura. I mean,
because our grades were all like 2.5s, 2.7 GPAs. So there's really nothing else we could really do. We couldn't be doctors. So,
That's right. Look, me too, man. Me too. I'm surprised they take me. Rainey, I'm not hating on De La Salle. Trust me. There's so many people that are friends of mine from De La Salle. It ain't funny. And look, back in my day when you got kicked out of Shaw or Rummel, or you went to De La Salle. I mean, I'm just saying it's true.
I went there all 5 years. I went right from Christian Brothers to De La Salle. My dad went there in the 50s.
So did Jim.
I went straight through. Okay, no problems with any other school. That was my decision to go there. So.
I'm completely giving you grief because I love all my friends from De La Salle. Garland Gillen, we will talk to you soon, and thank you for coming on on this Friday morning.
You got it, Jim. Have
a good weekend. Enjoy a Saturday off.
Yeah, Saturday off. I'm gonna be planning in front of the television. I mean, big noon kickoff. We got Penn State, Ohio State. Like
we talked about it yesterday. I'll be watching that too. So I'll have Fox on all weekend.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the game, Penn State, Ohio State tomorrow. So yeah, I like to park it in front of the TV if I can.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you soon, and don't ignore the family just because you can park yourself in front of the TV.
Yeah.
Talk to you later, Mark.
I can't give any promises on that one.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right, later.
All right. Garland Gillen on the Dattitude podcast. Presented by Evangeline Securities, Friday morning, All Saints Day, November 1st. A fun show. We had a fun show. Go ahead if you got some comments, Gabe, that you want to show. We're going to have a few more before we wrap them. In fact, hold on real quick before we get to the rest of the comments. I do have one more thing to chat at you about this morning before we go off the air. We told you earlier we would let you know more about how Evangeline Securities can help you figure out what your family-run or privately held business might be worth and whether it's time to sell. Well, how do they do it? Well, you know this. After the complimentary valuation of your company, if you decide to proceed, native New Orleanians Nick Braden, Ron Hemelt, and the folks at Evangeline will begin an extensive auction process among established private equity funds from around the world. They will maximize the return process for the founder and his or her family. I mean, I like red beans on Monday, but I want to know what other cultures do on different days of the week. If you sell your business, you can tell this West Bank you can come on and type on a show. This is what they do in Morocco on Wednesdays. This is what they do in Greece on Fridays. You can tell me all that stuff because I can't afford to do it, but you might be able to. If you talk to Evangeline Securities, they're the top producer on their platform. There are very few companies like them in this area, and none with their dedication and success. They are fully licensed, ready to serve you. So get in touch with Nick and Ron about what's really important, and that's the rest of your life. You can find them at www.evangelinesecurities.com. Okay, what we got going on here? The last 5-6 minutes of this show here on a Friday. I got a game to cover this evening. Shaw and Bell Chase. Who's with me? Varsity Sports Now. You can listen to me call the game. Should be an interesting one. It is not for the district championship, but Shaw trying to remain the top seed in Select Division 2. They can do that with a couple of wins. They need to win this week and win next week at St. Charles, and I think it's going to happen. Charles says Taco Tuesday. Well, come on. It's, of course, Taco Tuesday. But they don't do Taco Tuesday in Morocco. I don't think. They do Taco Tuesday. What do they do? Do they have French Fry Friday in Greece? Feta Friday? Maybe it's Feta Friday. I don't know. They maybe do that. Back in Charles Mangus's days, it was Slidell versus Salmon. Yeah, you know, I didn't know this, but completely off topic. But Slidell, Salmon beat Slidell. Yeah, Salmon beat Slidell week before last, and I didn't realize they haven't played a lot because they just got back in the same district for the first time in, I don't know, many years. But the last time that Slidell beat Salmon was in like 1991. I was in my second year at the Times Picayune. That's how long ago that was. Rainy Cajun is a Jesuit grad. Shaw and St. Aug were our nemesis. Yeah, we kicked some Jesuit butt pretty regularly back when I was there. UBN, how would you know Pizza Thursdays? You don't know that. When's the last time you've been to Italy? A10. And now the rest of the story. Where's Paul Harvey when we need him? I know. We do need him. Saints this weekend. I don't even want to know what Mono E Monday is going to be like if the Saints don't win on Sunday. It is going to be the ugliest of. I can't even imagine what kind of stuff y'all going to have to say. By the way, Rainy Cajun, welcome to the show. I don't know if you were here before under a different name or watching on Facebook or whatever, but thank you for being a part of the Dattitude family. Oh, you asked me this before, and I didn't really answer it. So, Black Preacher Man, you have no problem with Gail, but Loomis's tenure should be over. And you were asking, like, what would it take? And look, here's the thing with Loomis. I mean, I keep bringing this up. Y'all keep mentioning it, but reality, okay? That's what this show's about. It's about reality. Not, we can talk about what we want. Sure, I'm cool with that. But I think that some of you don't understand how it works, okay? Loomis has pretty much earned his right to kind of determine how things end. His tenure ends with the Saints, okay? Unless it's like completely off the rails and he just doesn't want to leave and he's clinging. The Saints aren't – I don't even think I advocate that they should change unless they want to. But I don't think – that being said, and I've said this earlier in the week, okay? All that being said, that I think Loomis deserves the right to end his tenure the way that he wants it to end. I don't think he wants to be part of a rebuild, okay? And I think that anyone with any common sense is finally going to understand inside this organization. They're finally going to accept is maybe the word that I should use. Accept is probably the better word. That they have to. They have to accept that they need to change everything. Okay. I mean, I'm talking about they might even need to paint the walls on Airline Drive. I mean, change everything. They need to change from the floors up. We asked earlier in the week, what is the over-under of total players that are on this franchise, on this roster right now that will still be here at the start of the 2027 season? I mean, some cuckoo bird said, well, every team is going to have major changes. No, I'm talking about if you're a good football team, 3 years from now, you will still have probably 20 to 25 players on your roster that are here now. I mean, in the old days, it would have been more like 40 because players couldn't go anywhere. But with free agency now, it doesn't work that way. But a good team is going to have somewhere between, and maybe I should do a study on this. How many players do the Niners have on their team now that were here 3 years ago? I'm going to have to look that up. In fact, maybe over the weekend, I'll do some experiment. But I think that this Saints team, the over-under is 9.5. I think it's somewhere going to be around 10. I mean, you can't have many more than that. This team needs to make changes. But back to Loomis, I don't think that he's personally, again, I don't know Mickey L that well. And Charles says Loomis doesn't want to rebuild, only way to go. I don't know Mickey that well. I've only met him 4 or 5 times. He's been on this show. I got to talk to him for, I don't know, a little over half an hour. You can go back and find out what episode it was. I don't know. It was 2 years ago. You can find it easily. It's in one of my lists where it's easy to find. If you do Jim Derry, Mickey Loomis, I'm sure it'll come up if you want to listen to it from a couple years ago. It was on the show. And I've talked to him a couple other times here and there. But the point is, he's going to leave when he wants to leave, but I think that's going to be soon. I just can't see him wanting to be part of a full rebuild. And when I say leave, I don't think he's going to leave fully. I don't think he's going to ride off into the sunset and go on vacation somewhere. I think he's probably going to stay a part of the organization, just not in the role that he's in now. That's what I see. Sean Hurst asked if Dennis can survive a Panther loss. I don't think so. I don't see how, and I think Gabe and I talked about this yesterday, and I think we both agree that for Dennis Allen to still be here past the bye week, he can't lose to Carolina, and he can't lose both games against Atlanta and Cleveland the week after. He can lose to either Atlanta or Cleveland, but he can't lose to both, in my opinion. So I think, in other words, I think he needs to go 2-1. If the Saints are 4-7 at the bye week, I think Dennis Allen remains here the rest of the year. UBN says it's 15. So, you know what, though? You can't do a quick count in your head because you'll go do official. I'm not being a jerk. I mean, you can't do that in your head. That can't be done in your head. You actually have to go do research and look that up. Rainy Cajun says, you think we're in the same wheelhouse. Graduated in 91. I remember 1991. I was well out of college. UBN says I graduated in 1891. There was no Archbishop Shaw in 1891. Pal. Graduated from high school in 1985. So yes, I am old. So did my friend Jim Rapier, I was just talking about. He graduated from De La Salle in 1985. But back to Dennis. No, Dennis Allen cannot survive a Panthers loss. They go 2-7 and they lose to the Panthers, and especially if it's Bryce Young the whole game, and Bryce Young gets his first victory of the year and only his third victory ever. No. Even I think the Saints would even be forced to make that change. Now, they're coming home to play Atlanta, because to me, that would be the only thing that would get any Saints fans in the building. If they lose to Carolina and they don't fire Dennis Allen, there's not going to be Saints fans in that building. Just not going to be. Let's be realistic. I don't want it to happen. I don't think, but I'm just telling you. Mandeville St. Paul's tonight. I know Mandeville's got to play without superstar. Shepard is out. I think he broke a bone or something. Kid had 27 touchdowns in 5 games. 27, and against decent competition too. It's out. Saints could use him. All right, so that's my prediction. 24-20. I think the Saints will win. I think it's going to be closer than it should be. Look, I don't want to come back here. Again, I'm serious. I don't even have a clue what y'all going to talk about on Mono Monday if the Saints don't win. Gabe graduated high school in 2017. My accident child was born already. Whoops. Happens. How long would it take Rattler to get to 27 touchdowns? That ain't nice. How long would it take? I don't know, Randall. How long would it take Rattler to get 27 touchdowns? I know this does not. You go on social media, you can still find it. But in fact, I kind of got into it with this just goofball yesterday. This goof, and then he's like, "You're being sarcastic. Your ignorance is obvious." I'm ignorant because I think Spencer Rattler's a bum. Sorry. Whatever. Lordy. A-Town's a proud graduate of 88. Your school closed down. Oh, didn't close down because you went there, did it? Come on, A-Town. All right. Anyway, that's it. Before I get myself in trouble, time to go. Before we go, Callie says, is that Denham Springs, DSHS, class of 93? Gabe says that Rattler's on pace for 27 touchdowns in 81 games. All right. Denham Springs in the house. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for all of you for joining us. It's been a busy week. It has been a busy week. Programming note for next week, just so you know. Of course, we have Mono E Monday coming up after the Saints-Panthers game. We'll be here at 11 a.m. We always off on Tuesdays unless we have a weird schedule. But Wednesday, we will not have a show. Okay. Wednesday, I am doing daddy duty field trip with the little one, the little baby that was born before 2017, Gabe Henderson. She was born in 2016, so she's not that old. Forget what her class of. I'm being on Social Security when she graduates from high school. I think she's the class of, I think it's 34. Class of 2030. Oh, if I'm still doing this in 2034, I can't imagine how old and how crotchety get off my. Can y'all imagine me in 2034? I would be a pissed off old dude. Dude, what is wrong with this guy? All he does is scream at us all day long. But you come back for more, don't you? Anyway, no Wednesday show next week, so it'll be Monday. Thursday, we'll have our best bets. It'll be worse than get off my lawn. There'll be another word inserted before lawn. I'm not sure what that word will be, but probably not one I want to use right now. Monday, Thursday, and Friday next week. Best bets on Thursday, and then Friday. I can't wait. Larry will be back to his regular Friday position. He'll be here to preview Saints and Dirty Birds next week. Can't wait. Let's just hope. Can we go a week without anybody getting hurt? I mean, two things. I want Saints to win. I want no one to get hurt. Can those two things happen together? They don't have to win 40-3. It'd be nice if they did. I don't want to be. I hope I'm wrong I hope that the Saints do cover. I hope I'm wrong. But those two things need to happen. And for God's sakes, can Carr have a good game? Because I can't deal with it if he doesn't play well. A-Town says in 2034, I'm going to be the get off my pod guy. That's why I'll have a guest, and by the 10 minutes in, like, get off my pod. You're an idiot. Click. Old and feisty. It'll be fun, though. It'll be fun to watch. Reminder to subscribe to our Dattitude YouTube page. Get it now before it gets hot in 2034. Click the little bell to receive notifications when we go on the air live. And if you haven't done so already and you're watching on YouTube, I know some of you left already, but give me a thumbs up. Nope, it's not doing it. Not doing it, Gabe. Thumbs up. Damn it. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, and many more. And find a replay of the show on NOLA.com/sports. Make sure to check us out on bet.NOLA.com. Check out our Saints insiders at NOLA.com/Saints. We will see you on Monday. Who dat? For the love of Christ, can we get a victory? So I don't have to get off my lawn, dude, on Monday. Have a wonderful, glorious weekend. Take it easy, my friends.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.